General mob discussions.
Yep.
You read anything new lately?
Just that like Rizzuto case. There's like a rat pretty much confirmed. It's this guy Frederick Silva. He's a Portuguese guy, but apparently he's like he claims he was like involved in like fucking 14 murders since like 2000 something.
What?
Yeah, and he's like probably gonna testify against these Rizzuto guys.
They're screwed then.
Yeah, is this your main channel or is this the secondary?
Second.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully we get some guys in here. Some dudes to what up.
Hey, Fox, what's going on? We're talking mob stuff.
But yeah, if that is the case and that dude is testifying, then they're pretty much they're fucked.
Yeah. How long? Well, they don't know how long he's facing Rizzuto, right?
Well, if he gets multiple fucking murder sentences, then he's fucked. Like even in Canada, like where it's pretty lax, like they're gonna fucking he's gonna get book thrown at him.
What's like the? Do they do like 25 to life over there?
Yeah, you can get life. Yeah,
Yeah.
life in prison.
Yeah. How's the prisons out there?
It depends. It's kind of weird. We have like provincial and federal. Um, Federal is actually better, I've heard. Like it's safer. Um, I've known guys in provincial, and provincial is like way more chaotic than the federal ones are.
Yeah, over here too. Federal's usually better.
Yeah, and like I don't know, it's a lot of like low security prisons.
I think this.
It's very communal too. Like they put you and like five other guys, and like it's almost like a locked apartment. There's like a kitchen and a fucking uh like a kitchen and like a cleaning area, and then the place you sleep and a TV. It's like you pretty much have your own like communal apartment fucking system for the low security ones.
I would still never want to go to them shits.
Yeah.
You know, in Goodfellas when they were all eating and making sauce and shit, that never happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. They I think the whole like, oh, they were so influential in prison thing is probably a myth, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I do think they had like good deals, like they were able to like smuggle dude, we just jumped from 30 to 20 or sorry, 3 to 20 people. Anyway, um yeah, so like I'm sure they did get food and like they were able to hang out, but they weren't like running the fucking prison, especially because there's so many like non fucking Italians, in prison. So like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Al Capone. Well, he was in a couple prisons. He was in what was that?
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz was one of them, and the other one was fuck. I said it the other day. Now I forget. But I don't. He was miserable in there. He didn't do much. Plus, he wasn't a rat like when Sammy and them got in there. He was in with a bunch of rats. So it depends.
Whitey Bulger was also in fucking Alcatraz.
Yeah, Capone. He was in his own thing. They didn't put him with nobody.
Yeah, fucking Mickey Cohen too, I think, went to Alcatraz for a little bit.
Yeah, Mickey Cohen.
I think he got sliced up in there. I read somewhere he got like attacked.
Do you think anyone's messing with Basciano in there? Or he's good.
No, he's good. There's photos of him with like Mexican like organized crime guys, and they're like doing thumbs up, and like he's well liked, dude. Like even if you're not like in the mafia, like you know, if you're doing fucking life in prison and like a shithole high security, like it's kind of respected that you didn't flip.
Yeah,
And he's famous too. Like pretty much everyone knows who he is.
Does he have people that are still alive that would send them like commissary and stuff?
Well, yeah, like Michael Mancuso. A lot of the Bronx-based Banano guys came up under him,
Oh, so that's good
and
then.
they're running the fucking family too. Like Mancuso, he was placed by Mancuso was placed. The current Banano boss, Michael Mancuso, he was placed by Baciano as the boss.
Um, yeah, so he's probably getting taken care of then.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are greedy, so like I don't know how much they're giving him, but like again, like he seems like he's fine. Like in all the photos, he's like smiling and shit. But it could be worse, dude. It's not like he's not getting attacked and shit, right?
Who's the one that said they weren't getting anything and they got robbed? Is it Kelly? They just didn't give him shit.
Kale said that his crew was taken away, like he was demoted from captain, and his crew was split apart. And fucking Mikey Scars de Leonardo, that Gambino captain, he was like when he went to prison, apparently like Peter Gotti and like the other Gambino guys were like actively fucking stealing money from his rackets and shit.
Oh shit.
Anyway,
Uh,
if anyone has any questions, shoot in the chat because I don't mind. That guy was always here, isn't here today,
oh, Joey.
or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, he might be around. What a Gene Gotti. How much time did he do?
like fucking 30 years or something.
Yeah, I think like 32 years. He was on the case with what's his name? Uh, who'd he go away with? It was Gene and somebody else.
Ruggiero was fucking arrested with him, but he died before he went to prison. And then I
Oh,
think it was also Della Croce's fucking son.
oh yeah, yeah.
They were dealing like heroin.
Fucking, I still can't find the transcripts, the
Yeah,
wiretaps.
but Gene Gotti's out now. I don't know how active he is. I'm sure he's respected, but I don't see him being in like a hierarchy position.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Supposedly, he was the most respected Gotti.
probably. Yeah, because he wasn't really like Peter Gotti was like seen as a bit of a clown. John Gotti was a loudmouth, and then Gene was kind of just like Gene was like the first to get inducted. So like
Yeah,
if anyone has any questions, say it in the chat. We have
41.
41. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Some guys like Jeff Nadu, etc., are like, oh, Gene Gotti's like the fucking underboss, or he's like the consigliere. I don't even remember, but like, that's probably not the case. Just because, again, like the Zips are running this family now, the Gambinos, like Lorenzo Menino and like Dom Cephalou. Like, these are just like fucking Sicilian guys, and like, I don't see them, you know. I'm sure that like obviously there are like I think Louis Villario, he was like consigliere for a while. He was a Gotti guy. He was an American Gambino guy. So there are guys like from that Gotti era who are like in positions of power.
Yeah,
But I think the Gotti name is just kind of like I don't see them giving him like a position. Maybe captain, but like nothing higher than that. And that's assuming he's even fucking active. Like I'm sure after 30 years, like, there's obviously guys who it's like that's just who they are. Like they're always gonna be mobsters. But like I feel like the smart thing to do with him is just fuck off down to Florida and like enjoy your retirement.
yeah. Because how old is he now? He's got to be in
He's like
his.
in his 70s, dude. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even 80s. I think he was the no, I guess Pete was the oldest, but like, yeah, he's an old guy, right?
Well, Pete's dead now.
Yeah, John died in like 2002 or 3. I don't remember which, maybe 4, but like early 2000s. And then Pete Gotti died like, I want to say like a few years back.
Yeah. Oh, 02 was Gotti. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of 2002. Yeah. I don't know. That era's over. You know, like he was a famous fucking name, but like the John Gotti era of the Gambinos is long gone now. Like again, like you still have guys like Nicky Carrazzo, whatever. You know, these guys who kind of came up with him and were friends with him. You know, like they're captains in the Gambinos, but like I legitimately think the fucking Sicilians, like the Zips, aren't just gonna fucking give anyone who is around him uh, too much power just because I feel like they're paranoid.
Speaking of all that, your profile thing that you got, Frank Cali, he was a Gambino.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I needed something to put in. He was in my fucking camera roll.
but when,
Yeah, no, he's a Zip too, dude. Like he was I don't know if he was born in America, but he grew up in New York. But he was like a Zip. Like he was like Italian.
I remember when he got clipped, they said he was the boss. Is that true?
Um, I've heard conflicting things. I've heard guys say that he was just like a captain who was on like a ruling panel. But then I've also heard things like he was the street boss. I don't think he was not the boss. Like Dom Cephalou has been the official boss for a while. Um, so I would say he respected captains, underboss or street boss are like the three things that he's called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
that's the guy we're talking about, the QAnon guy. I don't actually know if he was actually crazy, the guy who killed him. Apparently, like they knew each other. Um, and this dude was like, funnily enough, the kid, I forget his fucking name. It's like I don't even remember what the kid's name is, but he was like had some connection to Callie's daughter or something like that, niece. And also the kid, the crazy kid who shot him was friends with Joey Amato. Joey Amato's son. Joey Amato is a Colombo captain out of Staten Island. And the guy who shot Callie apparently was like really close to Amato's son. So there is some weird like mob connection with the kid, but yeah, he was his defense was like it was a QAnon thing, but I think it was like some weird familial thing. Like I think he had some issue with Callie because of the fucking niece or daughter or whatever, and it just boiled over. That's my thing. Like the whole like mental illness thing, that was kind of what was brought up in the news, but like I think there's more to it than that. I don't like it wasn't like a fucking mob hit. Like when that happened, I don't know if you know, but like fucking the newspaper was like, "Oh, the Gambinos are at war," and it's like, no, like
Yeah,
some
that was
fucking nutcase low level associate just killed him randomly.
the first I heard that story. That's what they said, and then I think like a day or two later, there was two stories I heard. There was the one that you just mentioned with like the niece or the kid, or there was another story with drugs apparently, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know about the drug. He was a lunatic though. Like Nadu has a video on him, and apparently, like, he was like a crazy person. Like, I'm not disputing that, but there's more to the story. Like, apparently, this dude had like a meeting with like two other guys a few days before, and he was like rambling, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a new crime family in New York," and like, I think it's like a weird type of like, yeah, just like a nutcase. But instead of like the nutcase trying to kill the president, he just kills like a fucking mobster that he knows.
And Cali was around for a while. He was around in I think the 80s.
Yeah, he again, like he was closely tied to the Zips. I think he had family, like cousins in the Inzarello, which is a Sicilian mafia clan, the Inzarellos. So he was because the Gambinos, like they're still pretty closely tied to Italy. A lot of the other families don't really have that many ties now. Like the Colombos are mostly completely Americanized. Fucking Genovese are completely Americanized. The Bananos do also have some Sicilian things still going on, but most of the American crime families, like, they don't really have zip factions anymore, except for the Gambinos and Bananos.
Yeah. Yo, what's going on, Joey? Yeah. So the Genovese don't got ties no more.
No, I've from what I've heard, Genovese, Colombo, and Lucchese are almost completely like They're not really, from what we know, they're not really tied to Italy anymore. Like they don't have local clans that they're connected to, but the Gambinos and the Bananos still do.
That makes sense.
It's funny though, like John Panisi, that Lucchese guy, he has a story where I forget the guy's first name. He's a Colombo guy. His last name's like Di Matteo. I think he was in the administration at this point, this Colombo guy, and apparently the Colombo guy was having meetings with like Ndrangheta guys in New York. So like the Colombos probably still have some sort of Italian thing, but it's not like Cosa Nostra. It's like other organized crime groups in Italy.
So like some like clans.
Yeah, like Panisi says that like even he like the Lucchese's apparently met up with the Ndrangheta a few times, and he talks about like they went into the room and the table was like an Ndrangheta clan, and it was like seated youngest to oldest at the table. So like
Oh shit.
they're they're like very like it's very weird, but yeah, no, there still is like again like I'm not saying there's like no connection to like Italy now, but like if we're talking like Sicilian, it's mostly Gambino and Bonanno, and then the other families have like other kind of like just weird ties to like other groups.
Fox said he heard there was a cultural beef between the Italian Americans and the Zips. So basically, when the Zips came down, so some of them were already made on whether it was Sicily or parts of Italy, but they weren't Cosa Nostra. But some of them would try, and shake down some, stores or whatever those mob on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like you do have guys who came and like for example, like the Cherry Hill Gambinos, they were like part of like the Sicily like they were already inducted in Italy, but then they were re-inducted into the Gambinos. Um, so I guess the American guys always kind of saw it as like these dudes are like weird, like they're not like us. Um, but yeah, even now, like there was an indictment a few years ago, Gambino guy, and in the indictment was they just say like a Sicilian mafioso. I forget the guy's name, but he was also indicted in New York, and even though he was like a Gambino associate, but apparently he was made in Italy. So that's like a case where like a guy's button doesn't transfer over.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Like a couple of mob guys I watched, they they were friends with the Zips, but a lot of them there was some tension because some of them tried to shake down other crews.
Yeah, again, like I think it's mostly just like a cultural thing. Like they just don't trust them, and
Yeah.
it's a apparently zip is like a derogatory term anyway. So yeah, and the Ndrangheta is Calabrian, but they're throughout Italy. Like they've fucking superseded Cosa Nostra at this point.
So you're on Reddit with the mafia threads.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty active on that.
So there was this idiot like a day or two ago. He was like, first he was like, "Oh, who would win, the DeMeo crew or Murder Inc." So I didn't even respond to that. But then he said, "Oh, who would have won, um, Murder Inc. or the Ndrangheta?" So I wrote, "The Ndrangheta would have never wasted their time with these guys."
Yeah, Murder Inc. isn't even really wasn't really a real group.
That's what they were saying in the thread. Yeah, they aren't.
Yeah, it was just a group of like loose hitmen who would do contract killing, but they weren't like a group. Like it was mostly a bunch of guys got indicted at the same time, and the fucking like court tried to like throw something together. Like, oh, this is like a syndicate, but it wasn't. You know,
Yeah,
it's like let's say me and you are like fucking hitmen, and we don't really know each other, but we get arrested at the same fucking time. It's like, oh yeah, these two are like working together type shit.
yeah. And I was saying this, I think, yesterday. The DeMeo crew, like Roy DeMeo, I don't even consider him a tough guy. Nino Gadji was more tough than he was. I was saying that Roy was most of his kills are innocent people.
That or it was like done by his crew. The whole like, oh, he's a serial. That's kind of like it's true, but it's also kind of like he wasn't really that big. Like, there's a dude. Like, he was only a soldier, DeMeo.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean. Like, he wasn't really that powerful. Gadji, yeah, 100%. But Roy DeMeo is another dude who's become kind of like mythologized, and it's like, oh, this dude's like everyone's scared of him, and it's like I just that's not really. I don't think that's true. His crew, sure, like I'm sure people knew like, yeah, this dude's a fucking weirdo, but you know, like he wasn't like gonna take over the fucking family and shit ever. You know, like I think Tommy Karate Patera, the Banana guy, is that was just one dude, and he was way more fucking deadly than like, you know, DeMeo.
yeah. Between Karate and Scarfo, those two were actually feared. Nobody in the streets at that time feared DeMeo. The only thing that happened was
They probably feared like his crew and like the reputation, but like again, like he was just a soldier. Like he wasn't really influential, like in the grand scheme of things.
yeah, and whatever Gotti turned down, you know, supposedly turned down the contract, but I don't think Gotti feared Roy DeMeo. You know what I mean?
The
Because they,
thing is, like yeah, there were a few instances of him killing like innocent people, but most of that was like an accident. Like they always talk about like that one kid that he killed. Apparently, he thought the kid was like a hitman or something, and
oh
like
yeah,
whatever, it's fucked up, right? But like, no, 100%, like he was a fucking nutcase, but he was on a leash, dude. It's not like he was going around like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill random Gambino soldiers." Like, you know, at the end of the day, he answered to Nino Gadji, who was the captain. So,
yeah. Nino, he was a tough guy, and Dominic Montiglio,
well, he was a Green Beret, Montiglio.
yeah, he was not a guy to mess around with.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Roy DeMeo had guys around him. That's the whole fucking thing.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. It's like the whole like, oh, you know, there's a lot of mob guys who like they're not tough guys. In fact, they're pussies probably. But because they're willing to engage in violence and they know people, they're kind of like feared.
that's
You
the
know.
yeah, that was the thing that I was getting at. Because everyone's, you know, on YouTube now, they're all, oh my God, Roy DeMeo. He's the most, you know, feared, and it's bullshit.
Yeah, so like again, like if it was just you and him, like there's a very good chance like you'd be fine. But it's, you know, if he has other guys with him or like whatever, then you're fucked. But there are dudes who are like one man armies, like Vito Guzzo, for example, that Colombo guy. That dude is a lunatic, and he's out now. Like he's a soldier in the Colombos. He's in his 60s. He's still relatively young, but he went to prison for like a shitload of murders, and you know, like apparently, like he would just straight up fight people by himself. Like he wasn't like he was just a violent fucking like single individual. He didn't have a crew. Like it was like, I mean, he wasn't a crew. It was called the Giannini crew. It was a bunch of these young kind of like drug dealers and hitmen. They were a Banano farm team, Banano slash Colombo. But yeah, no, dude, like Vito Guzzo to me like would fucking beat the shit out of Roy DeMeo.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, yeah. Did we talk about Francis's hit list, the top guys? Did we talk about that?
Hit list for what of like who's like the
Like
most like
the top 15, like toughest guys. And of course, he mentioned Roy DeMeo. He put Sammy the Bull up there. Uh,
yeah. Again, like even fucking Gravano uh kind of coasts. Like most of the murders he was involved in, like he wasn't the fucking triggerman, you know?
yeah, only one, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even remember, but like I don't know. Like these guys, they'll just make a YouTube video and they'll just mention a fucking name, you know, like because he knows that like the average person knows who Roy DeMeo is, so it's like, oh yeah, Roy DeMeo was like the most fucking crazy ass fucking guy of all time. And then it's like, dude, most of the people like who hear that name, they don't know about guys like Mad Sam DeStefano from Chicago. Like this dude would like literally rape people's fucking wives if they didn't pay on time. You know, like but no, a lot of fucking people don't know who that is because Michael Francesi doesn't make a fucking video on him. You know what I mean?
I don't even think he mentioned Greg Scarpa.
Yeah, and Scarpa was another one. Like, yeah, sure, he was a rat, but he fucking killed a lot of guys, and he was also a fucking like individually a tough guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Individually, uh, him, uh,
Yeah,
Scarfo, you couldn't mess with Scarfo. He was just hot headed like that.
yeah, and Scarfo too was like individually a tough guy too. Like, he's a midget, but he fucking stabbed this Irish guy to death. He fucking used to shoot people. Like, even though he was a fucking high ranking guy, like he was a violent fucking dude. Like, he was the boss, and he was still involving himself on fucking hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, De Stefano, he got killed by Spilatro, and also it's funny, De Stefano killed his fucking brother at one point, his own brother, like he was involved in the hit, and then the other brother with Spilatro killed De Stefano later on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he killed his brother, and he was also killed by his brother and Spilatro.
D. Simone, was he a crazy psycho?
If you believe Henry Hill, yeah. I mean, I don't really know. Like, again, like the problem with Goodfellas is a lot of the stories, like, um, they're not necessarily corroborated, and if they are, it's like unreliable narrators. So, like, yeah, I have heard he was a loose cannon, but I don't know if I buy the whole, like, oh yeah, he walked up to a random person and shot him in the head, like type shit. And even Spider, like the whole like Spider thing, like there's no evidence that there was a guy named Spider who was murdered. It's just Henry Hill saying that. Like, even I think Michael Francesi said that, like, yeah, he doesn't know, like, and again, like, talk about an unreliable fucking narrator, but Francesi's like, yeah, I didn't know if Spider was like a real guy.
Yeah, he didn't know that, but he knows who killed Hoffa, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, man, I've been fucking into this shit for like fucking like 6 years, like obsessively at this point. Um, uh, yeah,
Oh,
no, like, D. Simone was a real guy, definitely, but again, like, I don't know. Just another mythological fucking yeah. I mean, fucking Henry Hill is a drug addict, dude. Like, he in Goodfellas, it makes it seem like, oh, he was like getting into the back of the Copacabana, and he was like fucking Paul Vario in real life. That was Cicero's real name. Paul Vario's trusted aide, and it's like, no, he wasn't. He was a fucking low level associate who like pushed drugs.
yeah. Oh, I was reading up because the Joey said he wanted to know about Danny Green, and I didn't know too much about him, but he dodged a lot of car bombs.
Yeah, that was Cleveland. That was nuts, dude. Like, that guy used to fucking,
That was crazy. I
you know.
read some of the story today, like briefly, how many car bombs he dodged, and then eventually,
He got hit eventually, yeah. Yeah.
but it wasn't even his car; it was the one next to it they had to do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Albert Anastasia was crazy. I'll give you that. That's not a myth. Albert Anastasia was a fucking lunatic. He killed a lot of guys. And yeah, no, Henry Hill wasn't made. He was just an associate.
Yeah, I think back then you had to be what, Sicilian?
Not Sicilian, 100% Italian though. But even then, like, I don't know what, like, because again, like, he says that in the early half of the movie when he's a kid and it's like the 1950s. But by the 80s or whatever it is, like, there were guys getting inducted who were only half Italian. So like John Gotti Jr. is only half Italian. Chucky Porter from the Pittsburgh underboss was only half Italian. And that those were all guys kind of inducted in like the late 80s.
Yeah, once the '80s came along, they started not caring.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because more guys started to want to induct their sons or whatever. Like, even in the 90s, dude, like guys whose like father wasn't even Italian, like John Vesey, only his mother was in Philadelphia, and he was inducted by John Stanfa. So, uh, and I think even nowadays of like the Bananas, there's a dude who's like Nick Festa, I think his name is. He was in Ronnie G. Alonso's crew and Howard Beach, the Bananas there. and he's only like a quarter fucking Italian, and apparently he's made. So
I was gonna ask if it's more like a Napolitan thing because Gotti made his son, like a clan thing.
I don't know, cause uh, I don't know, cause like the American mafia has Sicilians and Napolitans, fucking Calabres. Like it's not really a Sicilian fucking group at this point.
Yeah,
There are families which are more Sicilian than others, like the Gambinos still have like Sicilian zips and shit. But most of these guys at this point are like, as long as you have a fucking last name with a vowel, it doesn't matter. But then, like again, like I forget his last name. That Lucchese bust, like which happened like last year. There's a fucking Lucchese guy, and his last name is like some English name. Like so, it's a little bit like who knows what's going on at this point.
Sorbs. What's a Napolitan tradition?
Yeah,
Yeah,
DeChico probably would have fucking become boss at one point.
yeah, I would have loved to see that.
See, I'm kind of like a gaudy defender. Like, was he a loudmouth? Sure, but like he was Cosa Nostra. Apart from killing the boss, like he didn't rat, dude. Like he died chained to a bed. So like, he had something going.
Yeah, I was saying how it was Ruggiero that really took down the mob more than Gotti did.
Well, yeah, I mean that's pretty much what caused this whole like Paul Castellano getting killed thing. It's Ruggiero got picked up on wiretaps and they were afraid, so they fucking killed Castellano pretty much.
So yeah, both sides were waiting for Neil to die.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot of guys getting their last names changed. Yeah, like the guys in Naples originally were Camorra, like that was the group. But at this point, like again, Gotti was like an Italian American, so La Cosa Nostra, like it's not really just Sicilians. There's guys who it's like, from all over Italy getting inducted at that point.
Yeah, I think I said this not too long ago. So basically, if you're in Naples and there's clans around and they trust you and you're not Italian, but you're from that neighborhood, there's a good chance you could become a camarista. So like you don't
Yeah,
have.
and the Camarista, the Camorra doesn't even have like made guys. Like it's just kind of like, oh yeah, you're with us.
Yeah,
I mean, it's way more of like a gang nowadays. The Camorra, they don't really have like ceremonies and shit like the Ndrangheta and the fucking La Cosa Nostra has.
yeah. There's no ceremonies.
They're probably the worst off, I would say, the Camorra out of the three. If we're talking Italy, Ndrangheta's probably the most powerful at this point. And then Sicilian Cosa Nostra is second, and then Camorra's third.
Yeah, I would rate it like that too.
And
Because
then you have all these like little ones like Lastida and the fucking like Sacra Corona United or whatever, where it's these like little fucking kind of spin-off Italian groups.
yeah,
If we're talking like the American mafia, it's Gambino's probably still on top. Genovese is second, almost first. Very kind of like they're kind of on the same level. I would say Gambino is a little bit stronger just because of the Italian ties. And then I'll say Bonanno right now probably has more guys than Lucchese and Colombo. So I'd put them third, and then Lucchese is probably fourth, and then Colombo is the weakest. Like if you look at fucking government charts, they only have like 60 guys, and they're all like 60 up, 60 plus.
I mean back then there was only what 90 to 110.
Yeah, I mean, at its peak, the Gambinos had like 200 something. Now they have like 200, 100, like 60, 170.
Damn, that's it.
Yeah, I have like a list somewhere. Chicago has like fucking like 12 known made guys at this point.
Damn.
Um, Buffalo also 12 guys, I think 12 known guys. DeCavalcante 20, 30 something. Philly has like fucking 40 something guys, I think.
That many they have?
Philadelphia is always kind of being the biggest non-New York family on the East Coast. Patriarcha probably has like 20 something. New England.
Yeah. Damn. So Philly's still at it.
Yeah, yeah. Merlino's not the boss anymore. Supposedly, it's probably George Borghese, who's like Merlino's buddy.
I'm trying to see when, because Marlino don't really go to Philly much anymore. He's in Florida.
He's in Philly now for the restaurant, but yeah, usually he lives in Florida now. But
Yeah.
he's been in Philly for like the last year now, South Philly.
Yeah, I still want to go try a cheesesteak. I heard it's not good though, but I still want to go there.
Cleveland is defunct. Most of the Midwest is defunct. Like Kansas and Cleveland, like they have still like living made guys, but it's only like a few, like a handful. From what the feds say, there's like no real structure. It's criminally inactive. There's guys who are alive, but there's no like structure anymore. Like same as Los Angeles. Like Los Angeles has a boss, Tommy Gambino, but there's like only like a few members left, and it's kind of like boss of what at that point.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens in the next couple of years since they only got one task force.
Yeah, that's for New York too. That's crazy, man. Like
Oh. I don't think they have the money for it anymore.
Cleveland as a business structure. Yeah, no, like again, like I'm not saying there's no fucking inducted guys in Cleveland. Like there were like some of like fucking not Savella. Another big name like there like recently like their like kids were supposedly made, but like I don't know. Even I'll put it this way: if Cleveland is still a fucking family, why is Carmine Agnello, who's John Gotti's son-in-law, he was arrested there like almost 2 decades ago running some scams. So, like, why is there Gambino guys in Cleveland if, like, historically those Midwest cities are just like Midwest territory? Like New York isn't going there. Same as Los Angeles. Like like there's been you know Gambino crime family guys active there, but yet there's a Los Angeles family there. So it's like it's possible the family kind of merges and joins a bigger family, but from what according to the FBI at least, like most of these Midwest families are done structurally.
And there's no New Orleans guys, right?
I think the last known guy died
The,
like a few months ago. I forget his name.
oh shit, really?
Yeah. Nola.
I hate it over there.
I've never been.
It's disgusting. The air quality is disgusting. I don't like it.
Oh, I just saw this like Ohio, like Youngstown, they had Cleveland guys there, but they also had Pittsburgh crime family guys there at its peak. That's when all the car bombing shit was going on in the 80s.
I could see that with the whole Pittsburgh and then Ohio.
Yeah, I mean Pittsburgh's done too, like 100% Pittsburgh. Like once Chucky Porter fucking flipped in the 90s, like they got fucked. Pittsburgh. Same as Buffalino, like the Buffalino family in Pennsylvania. They're gone. Like William D'Elia was like their last boss, and he wrote a book, and he's like, yeah, like we just stopped inducting guys.
Yeah, back then with the title forging and everything. Yeah.
Like that's the one family I never really kind of like in the Irishman, like Russell Buffalino. That's like one family I feel like it's like super overrated. Like especially in the Irishman, like Buffalino's kind of shown as this like, oh, he was like all these other families were going to him for advice, and it's like yeah, he was respected, I'm sure, but like he mostly like he wasn't that the Buffalinos weren't that powerful. Like they answered to New York if anything.
Yeah, I can't picture any Genovese guys looking to anyone
Like,
advice.
like for example, like in that fucking movie, The Irishman, like Tony Salerno was going to Russell, and it's like, whoa, we need, like, almost like asking his fucking permission to like
That,
get rid of Hoffa, and it's like, come on, dude, like,
no, that would never happen.
yeah, and like fucking Buffalino, like played by Joe Pesci, and it's a good movie. I like the movie. He's like, oh, the only reason you're still alive is because like of me or something, and it's like, you know, in real life, it was probably Detroit, like Jack Alone and like the Tocos in Detroit were like close to Hoffa, and Hoffa was last seen on Detroit territory. So like, it was probably them who actually did the deed, but New York, I'm sure, was involved in some regard.
Yeah. When did that happen? What year again?
70 something.
So yeah, New York would have probably been involved in that somehow. No, no trigger guys, but
No, again, like Detroit did the deed, but
yeah,
like, Chicago and like New York probably had to be like, yeah, because he was dealing with all these different families, so they probably had to go to all the families and be like, we want to get rid of this fucking guy type situation.
yeah. Hoffa, he just didn't want to give up his position. That's why they killed him. He could have sat back; they would have let him, but he didn't want to do it. He thought
Yeah,
he was.
he could have. They wanted him to retire pretty much, but he was too deep with like the pension fund shit.
Yeah, he became a liability.
Yeah. You've seen The Irishman, right?
I didn't like it.
As a movie, I didn't mind it. In fact, I kind of liked it as a movie, but like, yeah, like fact wise, like fucking what's his name? Who the fuck does De Niro play again? What's his fucking name?
Oh, fuck. He doesn't play Buffalino, does he?
No, that's Pesci.
Oh,
Pesci plays Buffalino. Pacino plays fucking uh Jimmy Hoffa, and then De Niro plays. See, like he's such a minor fucking character in history that I can't even fucking remember his name.
yeah, I forget.
But yeah, no,
Shit.
he he was pretty much just like a corrupt union official who had ties to the Buffalinos, and he did know Hoffa, but again, he wasn't the hitman. Like
That World War II vet.
Frank Sheeran,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's his fucking name. Yeah, no, like he was connected in real life, but like his whole thing was like on his deathbed he admitted to, and it's like, dude, come on, like you just want to sell a book and get money for yourself, for your fucking family.
Yeah. Ray Romano was a strange pick, but good.
Yeah, he was funny, man.
They had what's his name from Boardwalk in there, the guy that played Capone, Stephen Graham.
Yeah, he played fucking Provenzano.
Yeah.
Again, and like that dude was connected to Hoffa, but I don't know. It's a fucking movie, right? Tony Pro's kid, Danny Provenzano, is actually not his kid, his like nephew or something. He's like a fucking like movie director now. He made that shitty fucking Friends, This Thing of Ours movie with like. Have you heard about that movie with like Vinny Pastore and like Frank Vincent?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's like two scenes with like Frank Vincent in them, but the movie sucks. It's like some B grade mob movie, but it was directed by Provenzano's fucking nephew.
I was watching that garbage movie the other day, Witness to the Mob.
Yeah, yeah. No, Fox. It's called This Thing of Ours. Just look up This Thing of Ours movie. It has like fucking James Caan and like Vinny Pastore and fucking Frank Vincent, but it's garbage. Like those three guys they're in the movie for like 10 minutes, but it's advertised like their main characters. Witness to the Mob, which one is that?
That's the one about Sammy's book. So it was about the bull.
Is that like a TV movie?
I forgot who made it, but he just released something. You know how he does that table in the back shit?
Oh
Well,
yeah.
so he had the guy that played him, and they were talking and stuff. But Sammy was telling him, this was wrong, that was wrong, like the whole thing with Johnny Keys. He said, no, this didn't happen, this happened. And the guy wished that Sammy was around to talk to him before they did the movie because De Niro was saying, this is how we're going to do it. Like the way that he got made and then the music. The guy just didn't. The guy felt that it was like too over the top. And he was right about that. So, yeah, I didn't like the movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. There's a lot of like shitty fucking um for every like Goodfellas, there's like a fucking B grade mob movie.
You think they'll ever come out with another good one again?
If they do, I want it to be based on Philadelphia. Like I want like a mafia pro, like the Phil Leonetti and like Nicky Scarfo story.
That's the only one I want more than anything.
Yeah, and they already have a book to base it off of. So like,
Yeah, I would have never thought that either, especially Sammy.
yeah, I mean he's a rat. Once what's ratting on YouTube gonna change? You know,
Oh yeah, what movie was that with Frank Vincent when he was a
it's like the
dumb?
Chicago one. I forget what it's called. I know which one he's talking about. It's that stupid ass one where like he comes out with like a Tommy gun and starts firing at a car. I know what he's talking about. I forget what it's called though.
Oh wait, so in a couple days that fucking Netflix shit with John Ayalite.
Yeah, I'll watch it. My hopes aren't high though.
No, man, is it just one thing or is it going to be a series?
I think it's gonna be like 3 parts.
They always do that, milking that shit.
Kind of funny though. It's kind of interesting that they got John VC to be in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That makes me think that's why Merlino like doesn't want to be involved or like talk shit about it because apparently Merlino's still afraid of him. He's the one who shot Merlino and
Oh yeah,
Bellini.
yeah. You think he's afraid of him?
Yeah, because like if you apparently he still lives in like Pennsylvania, somewhere not Philly. He lives around there, and Merlino's whole podcast, like his whole thing is like he just talks shit about rats, but the only person he hasn't talked about who is intrinsically linked to him is John VC.
Uh,
And it's probably because he knows VC A is super fucking violent. And pretty much they killed VC's brother in that like civil war in the 90s, and then VC fucking killed one of the Chinglinis, and he shot him and Joey at the same time, and Joey was like holding. I want to say John Chinglini because there's like three brothers. I kind of get them mixed up, but it's like John Chinglini. Like fucking Merlino's like holding him and he's like bleeding out. It's like some shit out of a fucking movie.
uh,
And because of that, I think Merlino still is kind of like he doesn't want to talk about John VC.
yeah.
That's when Merlino got shot in the ass. Like if you ever like look at those old like fucking like Philadelphia like mob war footage like from the 90s of like these news stations. Like that's when he's walking with the cane. That was like right after he got shot.
Was that the one where his friend put his hand up and he died because it bounced, the bullet bounced?
I don't know, but it was like a drive-by.
Yeah, he was telling that story on some podcast.
Yeah, but I think that's the only time he's ever fucking mentioned it. Like he again, like he never mentioned John VC by name. So
No, so he said, I don't know who did it, he said. And he
mm,
didn't even make it like a mob thing. He was just like, some people came by. He never mentions the mob.
yeah.
Sorb said he can't believe a rat like Sammy lived so long. They did try to kill him when he was in Arizona. The guy Huck. Um, what's the other guy's name? The hitter from the Gambinos. He wasn't Italian though.
For what?
Uh, not John Alite. What's the other
When
guy?
they tried to kill Peter, when they tried to kill
Gravano.
Gravano.
Yeah, in Arizona. They
I forget his
tried.
name. It's like Robert something.
They
He's
tried.
like the coke. He's like the coke dealer, right?
Yeah. So they tried to do it. They had the plan and all, and it's somebody. I don't know. The FBI picked it up, but Joe Bellotti ended up saying if anyone, because they tried to kill his son. The son was in New York, and they said if you touch his son, you're dead.
Yeah.
So no one went after him. Because once you kill somebody's kid, that's it. They're gonna that it's an all-out war. Now
Yeah.
that's like some Naples Sicilian shit right there.
So there was the Trafficante family in Florida. They were like the homegrown family. They're defunct now. They also have like living members, but you're right. Like there are the New York families are active in Florida. Like there's a lot of Colombo guys in South Florida. There's a lot of Genovese Gambino. There's probably a few Bonanno guys. But there's no like Florida family. There's multiple families now active in Florida. Philadelphia guys too.
Yeah, because then when you get like in the States, if you're from New York, you get older, you usually go down south where it's warm. There's action in Florida. Like gambling was legal for a while when it wasn't in New York. So, there was more action out there. So they would travel back and forth.
Yeah, from what fucking up north.
Yeah, I was just thinking about him.
Yeah, he's fucking he said some weird shit about Florida, man.
Yeah, I believe it because I went out there a couple times and I could see what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think with him it's mainly like Colombo guys he's seen, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like LCN is still active, man. Like it's not dead, like a lot of people claim, but like I think New York, like the five families are always going to be a thing, but some of the smaller families I can see over time withering. Like fucking the patriarch is in New England. Like Carmen D'Annunzio just died, the boss there. So like I'm not saying they're going to become defunct, but like they also have a lot of guys who are like 60 up, so I think their last like known induction thing was like the 2010s, so like they should probably start inducting more guys.
The only time I could see that happening where it gets stronger again is when if Italy turns to shit and the immigrants have to come here.
Well, that's kind of what's going on in Canada, right? Like a lot of these like Rizzuto and like other like Montreal guys, they're like fresh off the boat, like Italians.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been coming to Canada, huh?
Who do you think the most powerful family right now? Gambino again. They just from what I've seen, like chart wise, have the most guys. and they still have like close ties to Sicily. And they're run by like the Zip faction, like Lorenzo Menino and Dom Cephalou, so they're still like ingrained. Gambino, I would say, is probably the most powerful in America. Genovese is a very, 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 very close fucking second. And like I said before, probably goes after that Bonanno, just because they're also pretty tied to Sicily and they have shit going on in Canada. And then Lucchese and Colombo behind them, if we're just talking about New York. And then Buffalo, I would say, is pretty powerful. Philadelphia is pretty strong, not strong, but stable. Jersey's okay. Chicago, I would say, of all the families, is probably the biggest like letdown, if you want to use that word, because they used to be like one of the most powerful in America, and now like again like they have like 12 known made guys, and it's very factionalized. Like you have like different crews in Chicago that are like there's the Grand Avenue crew, the Englewood crew, or sorry, the Central I forget what it's fucking called. The Chinatown crew, like they have all these crews in Chicago that like belong to the Chicago outfit, but apparently these fucking captains are like inducting people without asking permission from the admin. So it's very like each fucking captain is like its own street boss. So Chicago's very like disjointed right now, if you believe like what the feds are saying.
Montreal for sure. He said
Yeah, so Montreal originally was a Bonanno crew. Like you know, Frank Catroni and all those guys back in the 70s, they were Bonanno members. Like Catroni was just a Bonanno captain operating in Montreal. And then at some point during like the late 90s, after George from Canada, Shasha, who was a Bonanno member, uh, he was from Montreal. He was killed in New York on orders of Joe Messino, the Bonanno boss. After that happened, it seemed like it kind of became its own thing with like risotto, uh, you know, fucking taking over, and then it became like the Rizzuto crime family, and that's kind of what it's known as now. But Montreal does still apparently have ties to the Bananos. Like they're still, you know, apparently like on wiretaps they've had like Bananos talking about Montreal still. So I think it's its own thing, but I still think they have very close connections to the Bonanno family.
yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, the street gangs in Chicago. It's yeah, that's kind of like the same thing. It's a war zone out there.
Yeah, South Philly is very you know, the mafia's been there for ages, and like that's where like guys like Merlino and like Borghese and like Steven Mazzone, all these like kind of like I don't want to say old school because like I mean yeah I guess they're old school, but like they're in their 50s, but like all those guys were like South Philly guys, and they're pretty much running the family at this point, the Philadelphia family.
The good thing about Philly too is they still have the same, like there's a lot of Italians out there. They didn't move. They're still in the neighborhood. Like that's how
Well,
you
the
the cl-
thing, yeah, you're right. Like the neighborhood is still tight knit, and also the thing is, all those guys, like again, like Merlino's probably shelved if you believe certain people, but like Merlino, Borghese, fucking Lancelot, Michael Lancelotti, the remaining Cingolinis, all these guys knew each other since they were fucking kids, and they're still like friends supposedly. Like, there's like a fucking photo like recently of Michael Lancelotti who at one point was the Philadelphia street boss, and he's just sitting with fucking Joey Merlino at the cheesesteak restaurant. So, there's still like these guys are still like close to each other.
yeah. Even if he was out, you can't. Like if I walked over there and said some bad shit about Merlino, there'd be like 30 guys after me.
Yeah. So I think Philadelphia is less factionalized. It's more like one, because everyone seems to know each other seemingly right from what we know and get along. Whereas the New York families, like again, like the Lucchese, there's the Bronx Lucchese's, the Brooklyn Lucchese's, the Staten Island, like there's all these fucking crews that like the New Jersey Lucchese's, and it's like, from what John Panisi in his video says, like some of these dudes, like just like the factions, just straight up don't like each other.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
that's the problem when you're in different boroughs.
yeah. Angelo Bruno, was the boss from like 1950 something to 1980. Yeah, he's in the Irishman. He's mentioned. Um, After Bruno got fucking capped, um, the family kind of went to shit. Um, you know. Yeah, I mean, like again, like all the families are organized, but like my point is with Philadelphia is they're kind of less factionalized than the other families are. Same as the Bananos, dude. Like there's like the Queens based Banano crews. There's the Brooklyn Banano crews. Like, and I used the Lucchese's before as an example. But like it seems like everyone's trying to vie for power. Like Vicamuso, the Lucchese boss, apparently sent a letter to Stephen Crea, who was kind of like the underboss slash street boss of the Lucchese's in the 2010s, and Crea was from the Bronx, and he was like fucking put Mike DeSantis, who's a Brooklyn Lucchese guy, and he's like, give the fucking power back to Brooklyn, was kind of what the letter said. So, it's like, how the fuck can you operate a family if you're like referring to different guys from the fucking city they're from? You know what I mean? Like, it should be like, oh yeah, like we're the Lucchese's, not we're the fucking New Jersey based Lucchese's, or we're the Brooklyn Lucchese. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what. So I was gonna say, like the Bronx, they had a heavy Italian presence, and you had Basciano, Sicali, and them, but Messina wasn't from there.
He was from Queens, yeah.
So I feel like if Messina was born in that same neighborhood, that I don't think that things would have turned out how they did.
I mean, he, I don't know, like when it comes to Basciano, maybe, but dude, again, like fucking I don't know about if that's true because Cino also fucking flipped on like guys from Queens, even though he was from Queens. So it's like a rat's a rat type situation. I don't think it would have helped Basciano just if Messino was from the Bronx. I don't think that would have helped. He still probably would have rolled on him.
Uh, I see. I know what you mean. Yeah.
New Jersey has a new boss apparently. I don't know if this is true, but that Charles Majuri guy, who
Yeah.
I think we had ID'd as the Cavalcante boss. Apparently, he stepped down, and there's a new guy, and I got to look into the guy's name, but apparently, Majuri retired.
All old mob guys stuck together. Um.
Some of them, yeah. There's
Yeah.
always been rats, dude. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. That was always rats since the 20s.
yeah. If you're the Jersey boss, give me a button. Jersey's weird. Like they have a family, the DeCalvacantes, but then again, like you have like Lucchese guys there, you have Banano guys there. Or not, sorry, not Banano, Gambino guys, Genovese guys. So it's like kind of Philadelphia, you have Philadelphia guys too in like South Jersey. So Jersey, it's like the DeCalvacantes only really have authority over Elizabeth, New Jersey. Like they're not really throughout the state.
Fox, if you were a banana, it would work. We could FaceTime, but since you're not a banana.
So Vinny Ocean was on a ruling panel. Um, Charles Majuri and John Riggy, I guess it is. John Riggy was kind of like the boss, but he was in prison. at this point. So Palermo and a few other guys were on the ruling panel. Palermo wasn't the boss. He was like on the ruling panel where it kind of like in season one of The Sopranos, where like Tony and all these other guys, they're just captains, but they're like de facto running the family. That was kind of Palermo's situation at that point. So after Palermo flipped, Riggy kind of like was released shortly after that, and actually no, I guess they had a ruling panel for a while, and then in like the 2000s, Riggy got out and became boss again, but he was like confined to house arrest. And then Charles Majuri was the boss after that point.
They would have got pinched no matter what because they already had wiretaps on them. But yeah, when The Sopranos came out, they were talking more, but they would have got pinched anyway.
Yeah, that was that guy was Anthony Rotundo, and I forget the other guy. They were the ones on the wiretap saying like, "Is this about us?" But that's not why they were pinched. Yeah, like Palermo had flipped already, like in the '90s by that point. You
Yeah,
know,
they
so
already.
at that point it was I guess Riggy was the boss. Riggy
Yeah,
was the boss like during that whole like fucking Giovanni Rocco situation where FBI guy. I think serious. I've talked to you about this like a million times, but like the DeCalvacantes had like a Donnie Brasco type situation in the 2010s where this FBI agent Giovanni Rocco was
uh-huh.
posing as like a New Jersey mobster, and Charles Stango, who was a captain in the DeCalvacante family, kind of took him under his wing, and they were like plotting to kill this guy Luigi Oliveri, who was a DeCalvacante soldier who was inducted in John Riggy's home. So again, John Riggy's like kind of the long time old school boss, but he's on house arrest, and Olivieri was looking after him, kind of a Bobby Bacala situation. And Riggy, for whatever reason, inducts this guy. But then this guy gets like a fucking big head, and he starts like ordering people around. And I guess fucking Stango hates him. And Stango's telling the undercover Rocco that like, oh, we're gonna like pop this guy, etc. And because of that, like a bunch of guys got arrested, and no one ended up getting killed. But it's kind of crazy, right? It's because like this is the 2010s at this point, and this dude's still talking about like murdering people and shit.
Yeah, guys, if you didn't see, me and Pete made a video of The Sopranos and the DeCalvacantes. It's in the playlist on the podcast if you want to check that out. There's a lot of good information in there.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, no, Palermo flipped. Um, like he gave information about like the fucking what's his name, Frank Weiss murder. He was like a union guy, and the DeCalvacantes killed him on behalf of the Gambinos. So he gave a bunch of like information like that, and you know he's still alive, I think, Palermo, but he's obviously in like Witsec. So
Yeah. Yeah, Fox, check it out. It's good. I put the
I don't
picture
know.
there, so
Yeah, yeah. I don't know who Madaro is.
I don't know what this guy's talking about. I spamming bullshit. I don't know, Brazil.
Yeah, yeah. No, we're just talking about like mafia shit right now. And like the whole like the Calvacante pygmy thing, like in real life, from what I've heard, Philadelphia is actually the ones who are kind of referred to in that way by New York. Like
Yeah,
they're called like the minor leagues apparently, and guys go to Philadelphia. Like Peter Pantuccio goes to Philadelphia to get inducted if they can't get inducted in New York. The Calvacante I think is a little bit harder to get into, just because they're smaller.
Yeah, I feel like the smaller you are, it's hard to get into.
Yeah, and the DeCalvacantes, they're another one that have like a Zip faction, from what I've heard.
I could see that. There's a lot of Italians in Jersey.
Yeah. Sup. But yeah, no, Philly is yeah, they're kind of like the real life. They're kind of seen in that way of being like a pygmy family compared to New York,
Yeah.
or the New York, the five families.
Hey, Rowan. Yeah, so what is it? October 20th that thing's coming out on Philly?
Yeah, like I said, I'll probably watch it, but I'm not expecting much. Like John A. Light being in it kind of turned me off.
And we were just randomly talking about just a bunch of mob families. No, Philly. We were talking about Philly.
Fucking Peter Pantuccio, you know him, right?
Yeah.
I think he's gonna get out soon.
Yeah.
I
How
think
long
it's like
for?
2028, 2029.
Oh
He did
shit.
like 10 years for fucking arson on behalf of that Gambino captain.
Which captain?
Um, Anglonia, some like fucking Sicilian guy, like old school Gambino guy. He died a few years ago, but he got Tuccio to torch some carve some restaurant owner.
Oh shit.
That's why he went away. Like Tuccio at that point had already like kind of switched to Philadelphia, but I guess the arson kind of caught up to him.
Yeah.
He's young too, dude. He went away when he was like 30. He'll get out when he's like in his late 30s. That's pretty young for like nowadays for a
Yeah.
mafia guy.
Yeah. No, I don't speak no Portuguese. What's going on, Beep? Yeah, yesterday I was on for like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the washroom. I'll be back. Okay.
Yeah. I'll probably hang out for 20 more minutes. I heard Brazil was not good. Sorbs, that's more of Pete's. He's good with that. I don't know that. I'm not good with LA. Not with the mob, at least. Not the Italians. It's all right, Beep. You were around yesterday the whole time. I appreciate that.
Yes, I'm back. Someone said something about Los Angeles.
Yeah, he was talking about Youngstown and then the 49ers.
Yeah, again, Cleveland guys who were based there, and Pittsburgh crime family guys. That's like when they were blowing up cars and shit. Like that was like very famous back then. But all those Midwest families answered to Chicago in some way. Like Chicago was like the commission representative for like Kansas, Cleveland, etc.
Even the Ballesteros?
Yeah, that was Milwaukee. The only reason Ballestieri stayed, he was very disliked actually in Milwaukee. The only reason he remained as boss is he kept threatening to go back to Chicago and get muscle.
Oh, shit. This was when Youngstown was the main headquarters for the 49ers. Yeah. LA's weird.
Yeah, like it's kind of funny. They only really were powerful early on in like the 40s under Jack Dragna, 40s, 50s. After Dragna, they had like different fucking bosses, like Frank fucking Bompensero, Jimmy the Weasel Fradiano was acting boss briefly. They had the Milanos, Peter and Carmen. They were running the family in like the 2000s. But by that point, like it was a joke.
Yeah, because what's the point of being in LA when they were doing the whole Nevada thing? Vegas.
Yeah. But like with LA, or like I've told the story a few times. There's a story where there's a guy getting inducted, and it's in the back of a car, and Jimmy Fradiano, Frank Bompensero, and there's another guy. All dudes like running the Los Angeles family are in the car inducting him, and all three of them are rats. So
I always laugh at that.
yeah, but yeah, no, the last like, and then after Milano, it was again like Tommy, not like Tommy Gambino, Carlos' son, Tommy Gambino, Rosario or Sal, one of the Cherry Hill guys. Their son Tommy Gambino was inducted into Los Angeles, and he was kind of given the boss position as kind of like a we have no one else to give it to type situation. So Tommy Gambino, if you look him up, he's like in his fucking 40s or 50s. He's a young guy. He's like a socialite. He has like a wine company. But he's the boss of whatever's left of Los Angeles now.
The Illuminati running LA.
Yeah.
How
But
far?
it's funny, even in like the like recently, like in 2018, supposedly there was a guy, um one of the guys from Ontario, like a Canadian mafia guy. Um I forget his fucking name, but he supposedly was inducted into the Los Angeles family, but they don't know if it was like Los Angeles as like a family or just like a family in Los Angeles, like the Gambinos or whatever.
Uh, you're not far from LA, right? A couple hours.
Um, I don't know how many hours it would take, but no, it would be like a flight, like because I'm in Vancouver, which is at like the bottom of Canada,
Okay.
and then LA is like the bottom of California.
Yeah.
So like between me and LA is Washington State, Oregon, and then all of California. So it's
Uh,
pretty big.
yeah.
Albert Lavarone was his fucking name, the Canadian guy who was inducted into Los Angeles in the 2010s, and he was killed shortly after in Ontario. He was a like Musitano, like Angelo and Pat. He was like an associate to them.
Suge Knight, he was a gang guy. Hollywood feared him.
I've talked to you before about the Musitano brothers, right? Pat and
Yeah.
Angelo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that Los Angeles guy supposedly was like an associate of like the Musitanos, and then he was killed after being inducted for whatever reason.
Oh, was that the one where I had the pictures of, or was that a different one?
That was in the Canada episode we did. It's like
Yeah.
the two fat guys.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys got any questions? Was Tom?
No, Tommy wasn't, but there was a guy, Frank DeSimone, who was like a acting Los Angeles boss. And some people claim they were related, but I've never seen evidence of that. Yeah, they weren't related. There's some fucking people claim it, but like apart from the last name, there's no connection. To be honest with you, dude, again, like Tommy DeSimone was essentially a nobody.
If it wasn't for Goodfellas, I would have never heard of him.
Same as like I've said it a million times, but same as like the Billy Bats thing. Like Bent Venna probably wasn't made. Like he was just a high-ranking associate. Like he was like 26 or something. During that era, and like the books were closed, and he also had a drug conviction. So like, it's kind of unlikely that Billy Bats was actually inducted.
Here's another picture floating around the mob world lately.
There's a until like last year, if you looked up Billy Bats real life, it would show a photo of Pat the Cat Spirito, like this
Yeah.
guy with glasses and gray hair, who was a Philadelphia mob guy. But they finally found a photo of the real Billy Bats, and it's like a young dude with like brown hair.
DeSimone had beef with Gotti for killing his friend Foxy.
Foxy, it's about Jaroth or whatever his name is. I don't know about the Gotti thing, but yeah, there was some like DeSimone again killed someone who was close to the Gambinos, but it wasn't because Bent Venna was made. I think he was just kind of a scumbag, and that's why he was killed. Also, there's stories about Paul Vario banging fucking Henry Hill's wife, and DeSimone supposedly tried raping Hill's wife, so maybe that fucking added to it. So
Jesus.
Gotti became captain like a month or two after he was inducted.
Yeah, 77.
The Fatico crew, like he was inducted, and then he was made captain like very shortly after. So usually guys get made and then they're soldier for fucking like 5-10 years, but Gotti was made, and then I guess there was no one else to run the Fatico crew and the Gambinos, and he was put in charge of that crew at the what's it called, Bergen. What was fucking Neil Delacroix's club called?
The was it the Ravenite?
Yeah, it's the Raven. I always get mixed up between that and the Bergen Hunting Fish Club.
Oh yeah, then that was the Bergen was
That was the Fatico one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil, he was a heavy hitter. He was a scary one when we were talking about guys earlier. He was one of those guys you didn't want to cross.
When will you guys have your next live? I don't know. I think usually we do one lately, like every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Delacroix was weird. People used to call him the Polak because he had like blonde hair and blue eyes. So, um, he wasn't like your standard Sicilian. Yeah, there's a lot of big famous mafia social clubs. There's the Triangle. There's the Wimpy Boys Social Club. There's the fucking Palma Boys Social Club. There's the fucking like the Giannini Cafe, the Banana one. There's so many of these like famous like mafia like social hangouts.
There's a pizza place by me called Giannini's. Wonder if they're related.
I don't know if that's the same one, but there was like so again like there was this one in I guess it was Queens, so I don't think it's the same one. It was called the Giannini Social or Giannini Cafe Giannini, run by a Banana guy, and it was like Vito Guzzo, uh, Anthony Aiello, um, a lot of like these like Banana associates and Colombo associates, and these guys were like nutcases, like like street crimes, robbing people. It was a farm team for the mafia. It wasn't like an actual mafia crew. It
Yeah.
was like a just a bunch of young gangsters who wanted to be inducted. Kind of like the Bath Avenue crew, same kind of situation as that, where it's just like these dudes in their 20s who like aren't really associates, but they want to be associates, so they get the attention of these like old school guys, and then they get inducted later on. Like Anthony Aiello is a Banana guy now. Vito Guzzo is a Colombo guy now, but all those dudes started at like the Cafe Zanini.
Jimmy the Man's Place, 596 in Chicago.
Jimmy and Inendo. You got anything more to say?
I was thinking about Jimmy Allegretti. No, I'm tapped out.
Yeah. We've been here for like an hour, 26 minutes.
Yeah. What's the next episode you want to do? I'm thinking.
Well, once we release the Chicago one, I
Yeah,
don't know. Could
maybe.
probably, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing Philadelphia.
I was gonna say Philly.
Yeah. I don't know that answer, to be honest with you. Do you know who the singer was?
Was it Shut the Guy in 03 for singers? No, I don't know what you're talking about, Beat. Yeah, Fox, check the podcast. I have a playlist if you wanna. We did Canada, we did some Gambino stuff, um, the Cavalcante in Jersey, the Bananas in the 90s, 2000s with Messino, Basciano. And there was a few more we did. I forgot. We did a lot. What's your friend? What do you mean? Oh, Pete X.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've been doing this for a little while, this video podcast stuff. I
Yeah,
don't have a channel, I'm just into this shit.
yeah, he's a good guy. Amiga Nostra.
Yeah, Mika Nostra. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I guess most people know, but like mafia, the word mafia isn't actually what it's called. It's the Cosa Nostra, which means this thing of ours. That's what it's called. And then Amico Nostra means like a friend of mine or like a friend of ours. And that's usually like they don't go around saying like, oh, I'm in the mafia. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like they usually refer to it in that way.
yeah, this is my Amiga Nostra.
Yeah, and then like if you're with like an associate, like let's say like you're meeting a member and you're a member and you have a buddy with you who's not made, you'll be like, oh, this is a friend of mine. And if he is inducted, whether it's from a different family or whatever, you just say, yeah, this is a friend of ours. It's kind of like a code.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
It's from the Lucchese family who killed an enforcer because he was complaining about a singer in a club. I didn't hear about that. That was in 03. Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
Did the mob have their own nicknames for the Jews and Irish? Yeah, mix and a word that starts with K. No, I don't know. Like if you're just talking about like random associates who happen to be Jewish, I'm sure like for the Irish, 100% guys were called like Jimmy the Mick, whatever. Uh, and then like the Jewish associates probably had less flattering nicknames. But you know what I mean? Like usually it's like slur related.
Yeah. Unless you were, what's his name? Like Arnold the Brain Rothstein.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like pre-mob. Yeah, Patty Leprechaun. Yeah.
Well, some of the not the the Columbos had a bunch of Irish guys. They had nicknames. I forget though, off the top of my head.
There was I forget his fucking first name. His last name was McIntosh. He wasn't
Oh
Irish. I think he
yeah,
was Scottish. He was Scottish, I think, but he was called like the Apple or some fucking shit,
yeah, Macintosh.
something like that. Yeah. He was like Persico's buddy, and then there was another guy, Tommy McLaughlin. He was an Irish guy. He was kind of like a hitman for the Persicos, and I think his nickname was also like Irish or like something like that.
Yeah, they come up with weird nicknames for some guys.
Sigismund the Sea Monster.
The
Did
fun.
you see that fucking wiretap where like John Gotti is like bitching about like these guys in some indictment? He's like, "Who the fuck is this Sigismund the Sea Monster?" or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, "I've only been away for 6 years. What the fuck is like?" He like was McIntyre. Yeah, he was a known guy. He was Carmine Persico's buddy. Um, there's a lot of photos of them together. Definitely a respected Columbo associate.
There was a story where he pulled the gun on the guy Stymie, who was one of Sammy the. Well, Sammy the Bull took him in after that because he was like, "All right, this guy's a tough guy," but he went to throw down with McIntosh, and then he had to go to McIntosh and say, "Listen, Stymie's a friend of mine. Don't hurt him." And then Mac was like, "All right, only because you said it, but I was gonna kill him." And then Sammy was like, "Yeah, I know you were gonna, but just let me have your word. Just don't leave him alone." But Mac was crazy.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of like non-Italians who were like respected associates, right? Like even if you weren't made, you still had some kind of rights, right? Fuck, dude, it's like freezing cold where I am.
Yeah, it's pretty cold out.
Anyway, dude, yeah, we should probably wrap it up.
All right.
Yeah, no, it was good talking.
Yeah, I'll make a community post when we do the next one.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we can schedule it. But yeah, no, yeah, let me know how if you need help with the photos and whatever for the Chicago one.
Yeah, Definitely, I will. There's a couple, but I'll message you.
All right, yeah, sounds good, man. All right, I'll see you guys.
All right, take care, guys.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. It's a possibility on my other channel. I'll do something tomorrow. Maybe I'll let you know though. But all right, take care, everybody.